friends, and welcome back to my channel. For those of you who are new here, hi, I'm Laura. Usually on this channel I make things, but today I have something a little bit different for you. I've got a story time. If you've read the title, you already know where we're going with this, but if you are interested in plants, animals, specifically tropical house plants and reptiles, keep watching. Okay, so I've got a really funny story and I've told it a million times to all of my friends and family. I feel like I just want to tell all of you, basically. If you're in the stream, you already know about this, but if you're not part of the stream, join our stream. We get together every Wednesday morning at 8 o'clock Eastern time. Okay, so here's what happened. I purchased this Monstera Deliciosa. Look how big and beautiful this leaf is. Oh, makes me feel like a plant lady. Anyway, I purchased this plant at a local garden center for $19.99, which is a great deal for a Monstera Deliciosa if you're in Southern Ontario anyway. And they were having this big sale. They had a huge amount of Monstera, and I picked out the biggest, fanciest one, and I put it in my house, essentially. And about a week after I got it, I decided to repot it. Maybe you're not supposed to do that, repotting, like, super quickly. Oh, also, make a tea. This is kind of a long story. Not a really long story, but I mean, like, make a tea so that you're, like, hanging out. I'm drinking red rose orange pico with a little bit of cashew milk in it. Okay, back to the story. So this Monstera, big beautiful Monstera, I wanted to split it up into smaller plants. So I have like one of the offshoots in a different pot. So I started getting ready to repot it from the nursery pot. And while I was repotting it, I found an egg, a little tiny egg, itty bitty. I'll put a picture on screen so you can see how small it was. And I was very excited about it, obviously, because I love animals. If you didn't know, I have 18 chickens, a dog, and a cat. I've had bearded dragons, I've had turtles, I've had snakes, I've had a lot of pets, but I like lizards. And so I found this egg and I called the garden center right away and said, I found an egg in the Monstera. I'm very excited. Do you know where you got these Monstera from? And they gave me a call back and said, we don't know what that egg could be. You should destroy it because these plants are from Florida. It should have been, I don't know what they said, sterilized or radiated or something like that. Like it should have been not in there. But I candled the egg, so I put a flashlight up to the egg, and there was movement. There was a little heartbeat. There was a little being inside, very small. It wasn't taking up much of the egg yet, but it was alive. So I made this terrarium prior to even having the egg or knowing about it, because I like doing plant terrariums. I get inspired by Serpa design, and I didn't realize you could just have a plant terrarium full of plants, so I used them to root my cuttings and to propagate my plants. So I had this terrarium, I put the egg in there, I put a lid on it, and I figured, let's give it a shot. So I put a light on it. I used to have lizards, so I had a heat lamp, and I put it under a grow light, so it was getting the sunlight type thing. Then, after a couple of weeks, I had checked on the egg lots of times, and it was growing inside the egg, whatever it was. I didn't destroy it, obviously. The garden center said, like, throw it out, but I didn't. And I did some research, and the egg, based on the size and where the plant came from, Florida, it was either a green or brown anole egg, which is just a little lizard. They're not threatening or anything. Obviously, it shouldn't have come into Canada on a plant. I get that. But anyway, just put that aside. So, I went back to the egg maybe 3 or 4 weeks after putting it into the terrarium, and what happened was the egg was like deflated. So I was a little bit deflated because it looked kind of like rotten, and there are centipedes and spiders inside of my terrariums just because there are. And so I figured a centipede got into the egg and killed whatever was growing inside. I checked inside the egg, there was some goo, it was like ripped. So it looked like something had gotten into it, and the egg was all sagged, and the white egg had started to turn sort of like a gray brown. So I just assumed it had died. I took the egg out. There was some, like I said, some goo in it and like some solid pieces. So I assumed that was the baby lizard that didn't survive. So I threw the egg out. I took the lid back off of the terrarium and I left the terrarium under the grow light because there are cuttings in it. As you can see, there's like plants up in here. I'll give you a close-up again of this terrarium so you can see all the stuff that's in it. Anyway, I went about my life, living my life. 2 weeks later, after this, after I had already thrown out the egg because the lizard had died, a lizard ran across my floor and it was the teeniest, tiniest lizard you've ever seen. Like, think the first digit of your pinky finger, that was the entirety of the lizard. Tail, body, head, everything. It was so small. It looked like a spider. Like, I jumped when I saw it because I thought it was a spider. And then it wasn't. It was an itty bitty teeny tiny lizard. And I obviously squealed like it was Christmas. I was so excited. But that also means this lizard was living in my house for 2 weeks without me knowing it was around. It had gotten out of the terrarium and was living among my plants. It ran right across my carpet. So I screamed, got my partner, told him, get me a jar or something to collect him in. So I caught the lizard, and I'll show you some pictures of when I caught him, when I first caught him, so you can see how itty bitty he was. I'll put them up somewhere in here. And anyway, I told the stream about it, and the stream helped me name him. We named him Cicero, and I can't say I had like low hopes, but like it's a very small lizard. It had been living for 2 weeks on its own, so obviously it had found food, probably fungus gnats or aphids or thrips or something living on my plants. But it was very small, so I didn't have the most high hopes for keeping it alive. Obviously, I intended to do my best, but very small creatures, I don't get as attached to them because I don't want to be so sad when they die. I've done this with like baby birds, and it's very sad when you get totally attached and then they don't make it. So I went down to my reptile pet store, and I said, what can I feed him? He's smaller than a cricket. I don't know what to offer him for food. It's winter, so it's not like I can collect bugs. I went outside, I was flipping logs over, trying to collect ants, but they were even too big. Like, there was no way that was gonna fit inside of his mouth. He's so small. So, turns out, fruit fly cultures, that's a thing. You can buy fruit flies at the reptile pet store. They come in this container. It's disgusting because it's full of maggots and full of itty bitty fruit flies, but these fruit flies are cultured in cool air or something, so they don't fly, they just sort of hop around. So I mean, that was good. But if you can see anywhere in my background here, I don't know if it's showing, but I'll show you something. I have these little butterflies that are sticky, so they collect the bugs that are living around my plants, and the fruit flies escape from this terrarium, I will tell you, and they get into all of the other areas, but those butterflies are catching them, so they're not like in my home, and it's winter, so it's not like they can survive very long anyway. Anyway though, we still have a lizard now. It's been, I don't know, more than a month anyway. I got this Monstera in the summer, and it's December now, so this lizard is a month or two old, and he's still alive. He's still alive. He's growing. He's still very small. He's not like an anole gets about that big with the tail. They're not a very big lizard, but they're kind of cool. I know my brother had one when we were kids. His name was Godzilla. And they're pretty cool. And they're really cute. And they go really well in a plant terrarium, like kind of like dart frogs. They just sort of look cool in a planted terrarium. So this lizard is now living in a terrarium, a planted terrarium. It has a lid normally on it. I took the lid off so that I could take him out to show you. But I now have a lizard that I hatched out of a plant that I got at a plant store. A tropical plant had a lizard egg in it. So I called up the garden center again and I let them know it hatched. I have a teeny lizard. They said, please send us pictures. We want to send it to the grower. We want to like know about this lizard. And I guess it's not that long of a story. I have a pet lizard, but I feel very, it was very exciting. It was like a free gift with purchase. And I love animals. I love pets. I love all of that stuff. And I haven't been having lizards in a couple of years, probably 4 years since I've had a lizard, and I like them. So I'm very happy to be having him. He's still very small, like way too small to be eating crickets. He can't eat crickets yet. He's still about the size of a cricket, but he's eating fruit flies. Every time I add them into the enclosure, he goes nuts and scoops up 2 or 3 of them, and then he hides, and he's so little, and it's so cute to just watch him run around, and he stays in the same sort of area of the tank. This is huge for him. This is like a rainforest for how small this lizard is. But yeah, I just wanted to tell you that story. I think it's really sweet. I think he was a really cute little guy, or is a cute little guy, and I think it was a really cool adventure that I got to go on with him. Apparently, they can live 3 to 5 years in captivity, so hopefully Cicero will be around for at least a few more years with us. Eventually, he'll upgrade to crickets, and he's not going to have any tank mates. He or she, can't tell, he's very small right now. He's not going to have any tank mates because he is a wild lizard. He was wild caught, I suppose. It was an egg, but I mean, wild caught egg. So he won't be breeding with any captive bred anoles, and he won't be escaping. I mean, I live in Canada. He wouldn't survive escaping anyway because A, it's winter, and B, Canada, we don't have any lizards. We have, I think, one variety of skink that lives in Canada, but other than that, our climate does not sustain lizards. So he will be a pet. He will be living in a terrarium. I actually got an even bigger terrarium. You might be able to see it back behind me. So when he gets bigger, he'll upgrade into a very large terrarium. It's 40 gallons, I believe. This one, I think, is like 10 gallons. So he's going to have a big rainforest to explore. But I think that's just so exciting and so neat. And I shared it online, and people replied to me with other interesting things they have found in tropical plants. Some people said that IKEA had tree frogs in some of their plants at certain times, and nobody else seemed to have an anole though. So I do feel kind of privileged and excited about it. So I'm going to show you now a little bit of footage of Cicero, a couple of pictures, a little bit of video, so you can see how cute he is. I'll show you him close up on my hand so you can see how tiny he is. Before I touch him, anytime I touch him, I kind of rub my hands in dirt, just in case there's any oils on my hands. I don't want to burn him or hurt him, so I've been putting dirt on my hands to kind of give a buffer for him. But I'll show you what he's looking like now, and yeah, that's pretty much the whole story. I'm really excited about him. I like him a lot, and I just wanted to share that I am now a lizard mama, and I kind of have a little bit of a god complex about it because he hatched. He made me feel so good by hatching, and now he's just living a really cute little life in a terrarium. And that's that. So, I hope you liked my story. I hope you like this Monstera. Look how pretty these leaves are. Don't they make you think like, wow, that girl knows how to take care of plants? Not really. It's gotten sick a couple of times because of the thrips. The darn thrips came in. But it's still putting out new leaves. It's still alive, and so is the lizard. So I hope you'll join the channel, subscribe if you like the story, and if you like making things, crochet, sewing, what else? I make clay, okay, crochet, sewing, mending, natural dye, that's a big one on this channel, in the live stream. If you like any of those things, subscribe, like the video, and thank you so much for watching. Have a great day. Oh, and don't forget to wash your hands and wear your mask and stay safe. And I think that's it. Anyway, see you next time.